4 of the most important reasons why you need a code of conduct. And again,
so this is how we develop our code of conduct, and we hope that you develop yours as well. Some of our mentors were showing up exactly at 1 o'clock.
So once you have that list of expectations, you can now start being targeted with the questions that you're asking in the interview. You cannot assume your team knows how to be a good representation of your organization.
Welcome back to the Melanated Married Millionaires in the Making show. As y'all know, we're here to try to help increase the number of millionaires that are out there, 6-figure business owners, $1 million business owners. And there was a stat that I listened to. It was off of the Social Proof podcast. They had a guest on there. And he said 96% of Black-owned businesses are sole proprietors.
Sheesh.
So if I'm misquoting, my apologies. At least over 90% of Black-owned businesses have no employees, no team, and only 4, at most 10% of Black-owned businesses actually hire other people to support their work. Wow. And I think if we want to really scale the number of $1 million Black-owned businesses, if we want to scale the economic opportunity within our community, we need to start hiring. Yeah. We need to build more businesses that are supporting the community with amazing team members and employees. So,
thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Melanated Married Millionaires in the Making show. King, where can I go to stay connected with us?
Y'all can stay tapped into the show at them4show.com. That's them4show.com. And you can follow us on Instagram at them4show.
Now, let's get into the episode.
In today's podcast, we want to kind of go through, how do you build that company culture, right? How do you have people sign up for a specific role of responsibilities, dress code, language, and really create that code of conduct for your community, for your team, to make sure everyone is walking in excellence. My name is Devon Travell, creator of Black Wall Street, the board game, co-host of the Melanated Married Millionaires in the Making show. And with me, I have my amazing, my logistical, my smiling, my eyebrow dancing queen herself. Please introduce yourself.
What is up, everybody? My name is Sinclair, aka the Health Nerd. And yes, I am Director of Operations and Logistics as well for our business. So I think today's episode is super important for all aspects, but especially I think for everything that I see on the back end too. I think another reason why I was surprised by that stat. I would have imagined that most of them are sole proprietor, but not that many. I would have said like 60%, but 90% is crazy. 90%. And I think that's also why we don't see as many Black-owned businesses that are passed down to generations, right? Because if you're a person and you go on to glory, so does your business, right? And there's nobody there to kind of keep it going. Exactly. So I think taking it to that next level, really establishing it as an organization, as a company that gets more people involved, that has, that's creating jobs, I think solidifies it as a pillar in the community that will stay even past whoever started it.
For sure. And for us, we were sole proprietor, functioning as an LLC, but like we were doing most of the work from 2016 all the way up to probably 2019, 2020, right? That's when we finally started hiring on team members. People are doing the editing for us. People are doing the mentorship programs for us. They're writing blog posts. And now the work was able to scale past our hourly time on the business. And that's when we saw a huge increase in the company. So what we're going to share is from our own experience. We had, and I don't know if you're going to go into this, but we had some people that did join the team before we had a code of conduct, right? Because before it was just me and you. I know Sinclair, right? We go together, right? So I know her values. I know how she's going to conduct herself. So we didn't really need to create a code of conduct when it was just us, because we trusted each other and we moved professionally. But as we were hiring on team members, we kind of assumed that they had that same level of excellence, those same values with them, and not all of them did, right? Some of them had their own set of values, their own set of behavior, their own culture that they brought into Play Black Wall Street, and we needed to not get rid of that, but we needed to make sure that people understood you leave that there and you bring this code here. So this is how we developed our code of conduct, and we hope that you develop yours as well to build that strong culture. Queen, I'm gonna pass it to you because you run this, And you let me know how you want to go about this episode.
I mean, you basically started us off exactly where I wanted to start it, which is like why we even created a code of conduct, which we actually call our code a code of excellence, right? So that again, it sets the precedent that this is how we stay excellent as a business. But yes, we did notice some behaviors within some of our team members that we did not want associated with our brand, right? Yeah. Again, these are, if you want to do this outside of when you're representing the company, do you.
Boo boo.
But boo boo, do you. But when you are, putting your polo on and now you're representing our company, we want you to make sure that you are fitting our company culture, representing, right? You're basically extensions of us and our brand. And we want to make sure that that anybody that we bring on is an extension of that and is a proud member, right? We can be like, oh yeah, I saw so-and-so, they're on your team. Like, yes.
Yep, that's us.
Yes, that is us, right? And we want all good things to be said. So the next thing I want to talk about is what our code of excellence is actually comprised of. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but we do have like sections. And the first section are the roles and responsibilities. So it does outline like you are a mentor or you're a facilitator, right? These are the roles and responsibilities as it relates to those specific roles. We also talk about dress code, right? And we broke it down even what to wear and what not to wear.
Yep.
That was one of the first things that we saw where we were like, ooh, okay, we got to nip this in the bud.
Y'all just come in. And first off, I want to backtrack just a little bit, right? We have dope team members, right? We have some amazing college students, some recent graduates that really embody the values of Play Black Wall Street and go into spaces and places representing us formally or informally amazingly. Yes. But there were a couple, right? A couple people that I think we really saw within the field. I was like, okay, I think they need a little bit more direction. You may need a little bit more coaching so that you can be in alignment with Play Black Wall Street. And if we can, we might go into detail. So let me know, Queen. But I want to go back to roles and responsibilities and really talk about why that's important. When you get a normal job, right? You work at McDonald's, you work for UCLA, you get a job working for Starbucks, Chick-fil-A. It's very clear what your job is, right? They train you very specifically on what you're supposed to be doing. You shadow for a couple of days. This is from my experience being a former employee of Ronald McDonald himself. You know what I'm saying? I met the clown. I'm just kidding. I never met Ronald. Hope you're doing all right, brother. But it's very clear what your job is. You get trained on those very specific roles and responsibilities. And usually like it's a hard cutoff, right? If you're a cashier, you're not in the kitchen flipping burgers. If you're a fry cook, you're not at the cashier taking orders. It's very specific. You are a fry cook. You are a cashier person. You are maintenance, and you do those specific roles. I think sometimes with small businesses, because we are used to doing everything, when we hire people, we also expect them to do and be willing to do anything and everything that needs to be done. And we don't necessarily map out standard operating procedures, SOPs, what your duties are and tasks are. So we saw that within our team. So that's why we wanted to make it very specific. As a mentor, these are your roles, these are your responsibilities. As a lead facilitator, these are your roles, these are your responsibilities. As a logistics and operations person, these are your roles, these are responsibilities. So it makes it easier for us to hire people and allow them to be excellent at their role.
Yep. Excellent. Another part of it is expectations of behavior. So again, it not only outside of whatever your role is, right? If you are a representative of these company, these are things that we expect you to do, right? Showing up on time. Another thing that triggered us to go ahead and create this code of conduct, right? We were noticing that folks were maybe not showing up early, which is our expectation, right? At least 15 minutes before a session starts. We were noticing things like that where it's like, we didn't clearly, like, yes, verbally, we might have said it in a meeting, make sure you shut up, 15 minutes, but we don't clearly outline our expectations. Right. So we needed to get that on paper, and we actually set up ours as agreements. Basically, it is an agreement, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later, but our expectation of behavior says, I will blank, blank, blank. I will blank, 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 right? So it's us outlining our expectations, but also once they sign it, it is them saying, I agree to do these things.
Right.
Anything you want to add there?
So again, some of these, so one of our critical actions, right, a part of our company culture is to show up on time and prepare to every time to everything. And this is something that I've embodied for years, even before Play Black Wall Street, before True Up Forever, before M4. I like to be a timely person, show up on time, and have the amount of time to prepare adequately for the workshop, for the class, for the speaking engagement, whatever it is. Be out front, be able to welcome the students into the classroom. All those are things that I just kind of have done a part of my culture. So, and then when we hire people, my automatic expectation is that they will be in the classroom as if I am there. They will behave as I have behaved, because those are the things that have allowed us to grow the business. But those specific things weren't happening, right? So if class started at 1 o'clock, some of our mentors were showing up exactly at 1 o'clock. And then now they need to set up their camera, they need to set up their laptop, they need to do all these other things. And then class doesn't even start until 10, 15 minutes afterwards, which now we just lost precious time to create the impact for our students, right? So then we need to go back to our mentors and say, hey, here's the expectation. If class starts at 1, you need to be there 12:45, find the classroom, set up, and be fully ready to welcome the students in at 1 o'clock, right? Another one of our critical actions is we teach and learn with a smile and positive energy.
Ding.
Right, it's one of my favorite ones as well, right? So we want to make sure that our students or our mentors are creating a positive environment in the classroom. Some people, right, don't necessarily have a customer engagement or customer service background. I had to train her on some emails sometimes.
Look,
like, can you please
per my last email.
Yeah, like, Sinclair, say good morning. Say how are you doing?
Where's the money?
Goodness. Sinclair, she's Debo when it comes to the money. Like, for real, Sinclair is Debo. But these are all just like small customer service things that we need to make sure the entire team is on one page and we have one vibe, one behavior, one culture, no matter who in the team our customers are engaging with. So it's gonna be different for y'all, right? Maybe you have a security company, so showing up with a positive smile and energy might not be the vibe you want. But specifically for your niche, for your customers, what behaviors, what culture do you need your team to have to make your business successful?
Yes. The last portion of our code of conduct or code of excellence is the code of attitude. So outside of just doing the actions, right, we want to make sure, again, our company culture with just us two is great.
Great.
Because that's my dog, right? We go together.
We
as he
go
says.
together. Put a ring on that.
But as we grow the business, we want to make sure we're basically like bringing people into our little family.
Literally.
And so we want to make sure that the vibe, the culture is good and people are there with positive attitudes, because that's important. I mean, I think anybody has been in the situation where if you got somebody there that doesn't really have a good attitude, it kind of just changes the whole dynamic. Right. And we don't want that in our organization. So, you know, the positive energy that's in this portion. And then also just dedication to a growth mindset, right? We're huge on personal development, on always wanting to improve us as individuals and the company. So we want people that are also on that wave. So those are things that we have in that section of the Code of Excellence.
Beautiful. And can you go from the top again of what are all the sections in the Code of Excellence for us? Yes.
So Code of Excellence agreement, your role. So we've got roles and responsibilities. We've got dress code, what to wear and what not to wear. Code of conduct, which talks about the behaviors, the actions that we want taken. And then code of attitude that talks about how people should show up and present themselves when representing our company.
There it is. So we have those 4 sections, but for your company, it may be completely different, right? Especially maybe you're a security company, you're a technology company, you might need to have a code of code. Ooh. If you're a technology company, code of code. No, nobody.
I was like, what? You said it again? Are you malfunctioning?
No. Are you malfunctioning? I see you. That was good. But you might have different sections. We chose 4, one, because we really like the number 4, if you can tell. M4, TH4. We really like the number 4. So we wanted 4 different sections. We're also thinking holistically, how are people going to show up? Your dress, right? External internal, your attitude, your roles. Like we're just being very holistic with our approach for our team. And that's kind of just our personality, what we do. You might be completely different, and that's okay. What I want you to do is go ahead and write down in the comments what different sections of your code of excellence or your code of conduct would you have for your company. And if you can let us know like what type of industry you're in, that will help us just kind of learn more about the different companies and the different cultures that you're building based on the industry. Appreciate that.
Yeah, I think just to add on, because we are a company that is, we run a school program, so we've got our mentors going into schools. We recognize that the energy you bring into those students is typically what you're going to be given back.
For sure.
So you want to make sure that you feel like and you sound like and you look like you want to be there and are wanting to, exude that energy, because that's the engagement that you're going to get back. So that's why we're focused very much on that culture, the attitude, those types of things.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I also want to talk about the importance. We talked about kind of what our code of conduct has, but I wanted to actually outline like what are the most important four of the most important reasons why you need a code of conduct. And again, we did not start off with the code of conduct. We hired people before we had a code of conduct in place. We created this out of a need. So please learn from our mistakes and realize that this is a very important part of your business once you start to grow your team. So number one is because it sets and documents the expectations, which you've already talked a little bit about, but you talked earlier about how you just assumed that the people that we're hiring are going to uphold what you expect as an employee because you have those values, right? But I literally wrote here, it's funny you said that. You cannot assume your team knows how to be a good representation of your organization. Every company is different, right? An employee at McDonald's is going to conduct themselves probably differently than an employee at Chick-fil-A, right? Because Chick-fil-A invests and expects a level of customer service, right? So they put that training in there. They hire people that have that type of energy. Right. So whatever you set as the expectation is what you are going to get in return. Yep. It also serves as an agreement between the employer and the employee. I think it's our agreement that says, this is what we expect of you, right? And it's a way for us to hold ourselves accountable too, right? True. We cannot ask them to do a bunch of things that are outside of this list of agreements. Otherwise, we need to start rearranging what their role looks like, right? But it also serves as an agreement because we do have our employees actually sign this agreement. That is them saying, I agree to uphold these values. I agree to, take these actions and represent your company in this way. Yeah. So I think those are really two of the most important reasons why I think it's important to set and document that expectation.
Agreed. I love how in 2024, this is signed.
Right. It is for sure a virtual signing.
They sign it.
Number two, it helps you identify good potential employees or potential candidates, right? If you know, once you get them into the organization, this is what you're going to be expecting of them. You don't want that to have to be a big shift and change to who they already are.
That's good.
Right? You don't want them to have to change everything about themselves to match this list of expectations. You want it to be part of who they already are. So once you have that list of expectations, you can now start being targeted with the questions that you're asking in the interview, right? And be looking for little red flags. Like if you want a person to be very team oriented, when you ask them about their strengths and weaknesses, if they talk about like, I don't really do well with teams and I always just like to be by myself, and that's great. That's probably good for another type of industry or another type of organization, but not for us, right? So those allows you to really look for like, how can I set up this interview process? How can I be very intentional with the interview process to find people that already embody these values?
That is an excellent point, Queen, on filtering the interview process. I think our first interview process, we didn't have a code of conduct. We didn't have a clear roles and expectations. So we were just hiring off of really vibe and availability, right? If you got a good vibe and you're available to come through, play Black Wall Street, we'll hire you. But now, second round of things, we were able to get really more specific on timeliness, Are they smiling in the interview? What kind of vibe are we getting? Are they educated, or do they have, not are they educated, but are they educated on financial literacy? Have they been a tutor before? Have they worked in summer camps before? Get really more specific on the type of people. But then on the flip side of that, once you get someone who truly embodies these things naturally, and there's a couple people on the team that I'm just like, yes, they are Play Black Wall Street through and through. Yeah. You now can like take those people and I want to help them promote through the company and stay, because their value, their code of conduct, and their culture is perfectly aligned. So we want to continue to grow with those people. And then there's been other folks to where they join the team. It's clear that who they are is not in alignment, and it takes either a lot of effort for them to try to get in alignment, or they never get into alignment because it's just in their bones. And it's like, okay, well, this is a person that will not be welcome to join the team again in the future, right? So it makes it real easy to make those decisions.
Yes. Anything else to add on number 2?
No, queen.
We flying through. Come on now. Number 3, it helps you hold your employees accountable.
For sure.
This is a great segue, because we just talked about like what happens when you have somebody that's not upholding that agreement, right? So one, the fact that it's documented, you have a clear outline in agreement of this is what I expect, and the team member signs it. It also makes it very clear when that agreement has been broken. So right, you now feel comfortable saying, hey, we're not meeting up to this code of conduct, right? You can put it in writing. I do have, in my background, I was a manager over, 30 or so people. So I did work heavily with HR, and kind of like anytime you needed to reprimand someone, you have to have it clearly documented, right? On what is the expectation? What did they not do? When did they not do it, right? Dates, times, you want everything documented, because if you ever do get to the point where you may need to let somebody go, you want to have it clearly documented. Right. This is what the expectations we set, that they agreed to, and on these dates and times, this agreement was not upheld, right? This is where you broke that agreement. And now, of course, we're not jumping straight to letting anybody go, but you can start that process of maybe.
Depends on what you did.
Right, that's true. A written warning or a verbal warning, whatever it's going to be, but you can then outline what your accountability process is going to be as at a company. But you can't really hold people accountable if you never set the expectation of what they should and shouldn't be doing. Yeah.
Very tough firing people or not renewing people, right? But this is a unfortunate reality of being a business owner, being a boss, being a entrepreneur. Yes, you get the privilege of hiring people, you get the privilege of providing value, but at the same time, you need to make difficult decisions to sometimes let people go or not promote people. So just prepare yourself for that, right? You're a boss, you're an entrepreneur, you are a millionaire in the making, and it's going to come with some tough decisions.
Yeah. So I think, again, code of conduct is the step number 1. This is you outlining, this is what we expect from employees. Step number 2 is the accountability piece, which is also important. You don't want to have to be reactive in the moment when something doesn't go right and figuring out, how am I going to fix this? You want to have that process outlined. So again, learn from our mistakes, get that code of conduct, step number 1. Step number 2, what happens when someone does not uphold that code of conduct?
Nice.
Now, number 4. The code of conduct creates company culture and upholds company morale as well. And so I think this part is underrated, but very important. Okay. Let's say you have somebody who is not holding up the code of conduct. They're showing up late. They're not, dressed appropriately. They're not showing up at all. That is going to affect other team members, right? Sure. Because now we've got 2 people that are supposed to show up here. If only one person is showing up, now this other person that's supposed to have another person supporting them is doing the session by themselves, right? They start to lose trust in that partner. They start to, it just adds more stress onto the scenario. So now their morale may start to be a little bit, man, I used to like working here, but my partner, they're not reliable, etc. And I think it does start to affect the entire team. And so I think it's really important for you to, again, outline what's expected. And it's also then becomes your responsibility to hold people accountable for when that's not being upheld, because otherwise people start to get the sense of, well, I can do whatever I want then, right? Because nothing will happen. And then that starts to spread. And I think we've seen that in so many scenarios. I've seen that in other workplaces where if people don't hold people accountable, it just creates mayhem in the company culture, and people don't like to come to work anymore.
Right.
And we never want to have that type of environment. So I think it is important to make sure that you are taking that step. Because when a team member does not, again, uphold that code of conduct, it does affect the morale of the entire team.
For sure. And I think that's where we initially started using the code of conduct, because we saw a pattern of certain folks not showing up on time, certain folks wearing whatever they wanted, and we were getting complaints from our customers, from our principals, rightfully so. And then we had a little heart-to-heart with the entire team. And we were like, hey, this is what we're hearing. This is the experiences. This is our new code of conduct. This is the code of excellence that we expect from you all. We pay very well, right? We pay significantly over minimum wage. We do a lot of like small things that show our love and our value for our team. And with that, we expect that to be reciprocated, right? Because we're going above and beyond as employers, we expect you all to either go above and beyond as team members, or at least meet this minimum of excellence with the team. And we had this meeting, and I went in a little bit. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know if I went in a little too much. I got on my soapbox, and I really went in on our team just from a passionate standpoint.
Right.
Like, we're here to create impact. We're here for a very specific mission, vision, and we are hiring you all to be in alignment with that mission. If you can't get on board, if you can't be at this level, this is not going to be the company for you. And I think after that hard conversation and confronting it, we saw a shift in the culture.
Yes.
Then we had people sign the code of conduct, and it's been very solid and consistent since that point. So again, I think sometimes you do, as a leader of the company, need to hold that responsibility of the culture and not be afraid of confrontation when people are against the company culture. Kind of like your body, right? When a virus or when an outside force gets into your body, you have these white blood cells and these platelets and everything that attacks that foreign entity to get the body back to homeostasis, get the body back to a healthy status. You have to kind of see a person that's coming into your organization who's against your values, who's against your company culture. That person, for a lack of better words, can be a virus, can be a detriment to the body of your organization. You need to make sure your platelets, your white blood cells surround that person and either change them or take them out of the organization.
Neutralize the threat.
Yeah.
I very much liked that
I knew
analogy.
I knew you liked that.
Yep.
Shout out to Osmosis Jones too. Talk to me, Queen. I got one more thing that I want to talk about,
Please
but
do.
I can't.
But we finished the four,
finished?
so what else you got?
Beautiful. So I think it's also important to be intentional about when you roll out the code of excellence and create for us an experience around building the culture. So you can do this through a company retreat. Right. And I think we started doing this with just me and the Queen, having company retreats for Play Black Wall Street, for the M4 show, so that we can be just fully immersed in the brand, in the culture, go through our mission, vision, core values, code of excellence, critical actions, and just be surrounded by the culture and then walk in it. Yes. And we were able to have that experience with our Play Black Wall Street team.
Yep.
So we took them, paid for it, flew them out to Tulsa, stayed in the hotel. We were there for 3 days.
Yes.
3 days. Each day we talk about the mission. Each day we talk about our customer. Each day we talked about critical actions. Each day we're talking about our code of excellence. And by the end of the experience, they're now walking away with, I'm in Play Black Wall Street now.
Yes.
Right? I've been, I don't want to say indoctrinated, because I feel like that has a negative spin to it. But I've been exposed to the culture of Play Black Wall Street. I now clearly know the expectations, but also they saw our commitment, our investment to them as employees, right? To being willing to even create that experience, create that environment, have one-on-one conversations, group conversations, dinner. It was just a great way of creating a culture. So highly recommend y'all have some type of business retreats, virtually or in person, that allows them to learn these things about your company.
Yes. I mean, we definitely have invested time and energy and money into that retreat or that training process because we do see the value in it. And we want people to be bought into our mission, our vision, and not just want to collect a check, right? And so, I mean, we've had people say like, this is the best job I've ever had before they even actually go to a site and start teaching. And that like really warmed our hearts because it shows that what we're doing is working. So yeah, I think this is so, you don't think about how important this is until you see the need for it. Sure. But, again, take our word for it. It's definitely needed. Invest that time and energy to pour into your employees, set the expectations. I think it goes a long way because once you have people on your team that are really bought into the mission and vision of your company, it pours out into other things, right? Them going to the schools now that principal is like, wow, this is great. We want to have y'all back next year. And that principal is going to tell another principal when they meet up for lunch. And now we have other people reaching out to us. And, we've had our team members, randomly reaching out to us like, hey, I just met this person. I talked about our organization. Like, you should connect with them. And we never said they had to do that. We never said like, please go out, and they're not sales representatives in any way, shape, or form. But the fact that they're willing to do that shows that like, wow, they truly believe in what we do and they want to see us win. And us meaning the whole team. So yeah, it definitely is a worthwhile investment.
For sure. And if you're watching and you also believe in what we do, you also want to support, what you can do is what, Sinclair?
Like and subscribe.
Make sure y'all smash that like button. Make sure y'all subscribe to the M4 Show on YouTube. And if you're listening to this on any type of audio or podcast platform, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, all those things, make sure y'all also follow. That way more people can get this message and get this value. We appreciate you. All right. So hopefully this action item for y'all in this episode is to map out what is your code of excellence or your code of conduct. And you can call it whatever you want, which matches your brand, your core ideology. But definitely write it down inside the comments. What is going to be your code of conduct or excellence? And let us know what industry you're in. Queen, anything else you want to sprinkle on that before we go and eat some lunch?
Lunch? No, I'm ready for lunch.
Ready for lunch? All right, y'all. Thanks for tuning in to the M4 Show. My name is Devon Travell, creator of Black Wall Street, the board game.
And I'm Sinclair, a.k.a. the Health Nerd.
Make sure y'all secure the marriage. Make sure y'all secure the bag. And of course, make sure y'all secure the bag 2 times.
I was like, wait a minute.
Come on. This is a bag. Peace.